guys, today we're going to finish our book about Washington, D.C. that we read the other day. And we're going to start out by looking at a picture of where George Washington lived. This is the restored home of George Washington. It is at Mount Vernon. This is restored. It says, "This is Mount Vernon, the restored home of George Washington. It sits on a hill overlooking the Potomac River, about 15 miles south of Washington, D.C. Every time a U.S. Navy ship passes Mount Vernon, the flag is lowered. Then the ship's bell is rung and the crew stands at attention. This ceremony is in honor of Washington, who is buried there in a simple tomb. Visitors can walk through the main house and see many things that belong to the Washingtons. The kitchen is connected to the house by a covered walkway. It looks like it did over 200 years ago." So they've restored that house to look just like it did over 200 years ago. And that is where George Washington himself did live, which is really neat. Washington moved to Mount Vernon when he was 22. Soon he married Martha. George liked farming his plantation. He had slaves who helped him. The slave quarters are near the house. When the Revolutionary War, 1775 to 1781, started, Washington was made Commander-in-Chief of the American Army. In 1789, he became the first President of the United States. He and Martha moved to New York City, the first seat of government. After 2 terms as president, he went back to Mount Vernon. 2 years later, in 1799, he died there at age 67. His slaves were freed when he died. Washington had lived at Mount Vernon only 16 years. And there's 2 other pictures of Mount Vernon. All right, now in these pictures right here, this is just telling us what these pictures are. It says in this picture here and here, we have statues in front of the Supreme Court building. Right in here. Those are in front of the Supreme Court building. And then in this one right here, we have a statue of Thomas Jefferson on that picture there, in B. And then in this one down here, we have the First Division Memorial down there that I'm pointing at. And then in figure E right here, we have the Ulysses S. Grant Memorial in front of the Capitol. If you can see that picture there, that is in front of the Capitol. It's the Ulysses S. Grant Memorial. And then we have a sculpture of Infinity in front of the National Museum of American History, which is here. Infinity, that's an infinity symbol in front of that museum. And then over here we have the Washington Monument. Over here we saw that on another page. And then down here we have the National Christmas Tree. And then we have over here fireworks above the mall. Now this is not a shopping mall, it's just called the mall in Washington. Okay. So those are just some really popular pictures. All right, so, and like I said, you guys have been studying about Washington, George Washington, and you've also learned you've done some listening to him, and you've also done some writings. And so keep sharing those with me. I'm really enjoying what you're sending me, and I hope we can see each other again soon. All right, bye-bye.